to our friend Al Hood, Tarheel blog, and of course Canes Country. We might talk a little Canes here in a second. At Al B Hood on Twitter. All right, let me ask you this question, sir. Bill Belichick said yesterday, I think it was yesterday, might have been the day before, don't really know who the starting quarterback is going to be. Really? What do you think?
Yeah, those watching on YouTube probably saw me roll my eyes a little bit. You don't make the play that you made for Gio Lopez unless your plan is to keep him and basically not even keep him, start him. He has the experience to be able to be a Division I starter. He gives you the most options as a Division I starter for an offense where a lot of stuff you just don't know. He gives you more mobility. He gives you more ability to be able to save plays and just keep going down to down than you would with Max Johnson, who it's amazing that he's been able to recover from the broken leg that he did. The fact that they revealed the fact, or we were reminded that he almost lost his leg in that gruesome injury last year, and the fact that there's even a talk of him having the opportunity to start and to play is remarkable. And I wouldn't put it past Belichick to actually have Johnson out there for a couple of plays, depending on the situation. It's college football. We don't know fully what to expect with him. But I just don't see how you spend the money, especially now that that's a factor. I don't see how you spend the money unless and you send Lopez out to ACC media kickoff unless your plan is to have him be your starter.
Well, last year they sent both quarterbacks. They sent actually they might have sent three quarterbacks to football kickoff last year. They sent Max Johnson. They also sent the kid that's now at Charlotte. Right? They said Blake Harrell? No, I just named the ECU coach. My fault. I forget his name, but they sent, he was, by the way, his dad, again, I'm sad that I don't remember his name, but his dad was a clothier in the Charlotte area, like actually made clothes, and he was absolutely hooked up. But, so they sent two quarterbacks last year. So, but I agree with you. Really, this is an NIL situation for me. That you didn't pay Gio Lopez to come here. You didn't entice him here based on not being, like, I'm not saying you promise him the quarterback, but at the very least, it's got to be his to lose, no?
No, exactly. That's the main part. It's that if he is not the starter, then it's very clear that something just didn't jive with the way everything with what was expected. And if that was the case, then why is he even going out to ACC kickoff? Why is he speaking glowingly about the opportunities and everything that he's getting? And not to mention, if you're trying to turn Carolina into the pro system, you're trying to make it your college football's pro football. What sort of impression are you making on future recruits and future prospects by paying the guy, recruiting the guy, getting the guy over here, and then immediately benching? It's just, but for the strategic purposes, for the planning purposes, I completely get, you alluded to it, I completely get why Belichick isn't going to tip the hand on it. We wouldn't expect that we would expect that from most college coaches at this point. And Belichick, anybody who is even a remote NFL fan knows this was the type of stuff he would do. It wasn't until halfway through Brady's career that he would acknowledge that Brady was the surefire starter. So, this isn't that much of a surprise.
No, Bill is playing games. I do find it funny. He was talking as though he had this dilemma every year in training camp. It was just very funny to me. I'm like, we had Brady for like 16 years. So, and I guess toward the end, Bill was not necessarily tired of Brady, but he thought the Patriots should have moved on sooner. The Super Bowl one in Tampa Bay really showed that, man, if you put players around him, that guy can still get the job done. But the Patriots didn't have those players to put around him in the latter stages. Al Hood, Tarheel blog staff writer, also Canes Country staff writer. We'll get to the Canes in a moment. Who, and I'm going to assume Gio Lopez here, who or whom will Gio Lopez be throwing the ball to? Whom will he be handing it to? That to me will determine everything not everything, but a lot of what Carolina is able to do on that side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, the lucky part for Carolina is that out of all of the changes, all of the things that have happened, and all of the roster churn that they've had, the two places where they are pretty well consistent is going to be both running back and wide receiver, especially running back. Damian Goss is the one who is everybody's kind of looking on as the person who will probably take on the majority of the carries for Carolina. He got the start last year in the Fenway Bowl. And now when Freddie Kitchens was the coach, and now Kitchens is the offensive coordinator. So it kind of makes sense that link would kind of go on. But you also have Caleb Hood, who after the Fenway Bowl went into the transfer portal, but then has said specifically in interviews that after speaking with the coaching staff and reflecting on it, that he felt like he was still going to get an opportunity at Carolina. And I think most fans hope that he finally succeeds, because like he came into Carolina as this heralded recruit. He's not a relation, by the way. And he just has had such bad luck with injuries. The opportunities have been there for him. But I do think between him and Goss, what we may see more from this Carolina offense, my Tarheel blog partner, Evan Davis, put this out there, that both he, but especially Hood, may have a really good chance in not just the running back, but the swing out routes, being able to catch the ball from someone like Lopez, that being able to get beyond that line of scrimmage and being able to be in a attractive pass catcher for those short yardages that way. They're both built to be able to handle it and be able to take the passes going in that direction. So, and we may see more of that in this type of system when you've got your wide receiver options aren't quite as plentiful. I mean, you've got Kobe Paysor, who's probably the big guy that you're going to be looking at on the receiver option. The tight ends section is the one that took a large hit, and it's not because of transfers. It's just because of attrition. They all finally graduated. So if there's one area where the offense, where fans can at least be optimistic, I think it's going to be in the running back section.
I think 25 players who played in the Pinstripe Bowl? Not in the Pinstripe Bowl. 25 players who played in the last game of the regular season against NC State. And just 25 players are on this roster. Something crazy.
Something like 65 new players on this roster right now. I mean, the churn is something. It's what but it's also what they hired him for. I mean, It was understood that they wanted the pro operation. They wanted a general manager who's going to go through, and the numbers that have been reported out there for what Carolina's football budget is between NILs and now the revenue share is it's astronomical. It's just what's going to be interesting is how Belichick, I mean, he did allude to it in all of that coach speak. He did talk about the fact that, and you hinted at it in the last segment, we just don't know how everybody's going to react to everything until they actually play a real game. And in this case, that real game, unlike the NFL, is going to be prime time, the only football game going on in front of everybody. I'll be interested to see the ratings in the Boston area for that game too. Oh,
the ratings are going to be massive. People think I'm crazy. I'm not. I don't think I am. I don't think there has ever been or will ever be more attention paid to a college football program than will be paid to North Carolina this year, because everybody at the NFL level, they want to see Bill. They want to see what this project is going to be like. I caution people, even though the schedule's relatively easy, I think if they go 8-4, I think that would be a really good year. And I know people are thinking about double-digit wins because of the schedule. I think there's enough losable games. We have no idea what the talent level is like. I'm looking at the two deep in the depth chart, and there's like 7 guys in the two deep on defense that were here last year. We have no clue what this is going to be like. All right, final thing for Al Hood, at Al B. Hood on Twitter, Blue Sky, Tarheel blog, also Canes Country. Jackson Blake signed his contract. 8 years, just over $5 million, 5.11 in terms of the average annual value for a cap hit because there's deferred money. Logan Stankoven, 8-year deal, $6 million per. Give me your thoughts on what the Hurricanes did, where they are right now.
I mean, I think they line up with pretty much how everybody feels. I would like another. I'm not thrilled at the idea of someone like Seth Jarvis being the 2C. That's the area that they're missing right now, is having like a true good 2C. But how many NHL teams right now would love to have a true good 2C right now? It's just not available. So you take advantage of the opportunities that are presented to you. And, you know, it's hard not to just love where the Canes position is at this point. They only have one restricted free agent at the end of this season now that's on the books, if I remember correctly. It's just Nikishin.
Yep.
And I find it really hard to believe that deal isn't going to get done before the end of the year, because you don't go through what you went through to get him over to the United States and play, or to North America and play, unless you have at least some understanding as to what the contract is going to be. I mean, no, legally they can't, but you know.
No, I think they could. Like, he only has one more year left on his deal.
Well,
I think they could sign him now. Right.
I would say before he signed, but at the same time, the other carrot is going to be that 8 years. This is the last year they can sign that 8-year extension for him. So, you know, the Canes are going to be motivated to try to do that, just like they were with Blake, just like they were with Stankoven. Also, the last year they can do the deferred money, which we saw with the contracts. You know, it speaks to the level of how good of a general manager that Tulsky is to some extent, when they were like, oh, this thing that you discovered that you could do, we need to outlaw that in the next collective bargaining agreement. But, you know, there's no reason for fans not to be excited about it, because for the first time in a long, maybe ever, this team has a core of really good to great players that are going to be around for a long time. And that stability with the rising cap just gives the team so many options in terms of trades to fill out the roster and just consistency while other teams are going through their churn. You know, it's so weird to think that a decade ago that making the playoffs was just such a big deal, and now there's no reason not to expect the playoffs for this team for the foreseeable future going forward, just because of the length of time that this core is signed up for.
For at least the next 4 years. Yeah. Andrei Svechnikov's 4-year, and it's probably longer, but in terms of core players being signed, basically for the next 4 years at least, they're all here. It is they're still relatively young. You got Blake, who's not even yet 22. Maybe he's 22. Stankoven 22. Ehlers is not old. Only a 6-year deal. That was curious to me. But yeah, their core is set up. I'm with you. I'm trepidatious about Jarvis in the middle because I think he'll get the first crack at it. But I also don't know that he won't be good at it because he's been good at everything. So
I just don't like the where. I mean, we already know he's basically about playing through an injury at this point that he's not going to get surgery on. I'm just not a fan of the wear that playing that position with how he plays will put on him throughout the course of the season. I'd like them to be able to do it. And, you know, I think the truth of the matter is, I mean, and this is not going to be breaking news for anybody with the Canes, it's that there are a lot of teams. There were like no moves made across the entire league because so many teams feel like that they have a great chance of winning.
31.
first few months, first couple of months, a few teams are going to get woken up about how actually competitive they are, and may start looking ahead to the draft and realizing maybe it's time for them to kind of change their priorities. And I think that's kind of what the team is banking on too, that there will be some other opportunities, even though they'd like to be set now. I mean, you can't make a move just to make a move.
No, reality will set in by Thanksgiving. Al Hood, Tarheel blog, Canes Country, staff writer for both. He wore a Carolina hat for this. I appreciate your time, my man. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Adam. Talk to you soon.
You got it.